Hi everyone, this is Niki Rowland and today I have a layout for Bella Boulevard. This week is Mum Week, so celebrating Mother's Day. So I have chosen to scrapbook some photos of me and my little boy together. I have this idea of creating a mixed media background and then creating folded hearts. You can see one over on the right hand side to decorate my page with. Okay, so I'm going to start off by doing the mixed media background. I'm using Shimmerz Paints, which are my favourite paints, and I have got, I've pulled out several colours that you can see there that's matching the papers that I've pulled out as well. So I'm going for like a blue monochrome colour theme, kind of like blues and greens. So the colours I'm using, this one here, the first one is a very light, kind of like a mint green. It's called Refreshment. So I've just applied that using the packaging technique. And then I want to move on to the next colour, but it was very wet, so I thought I'd better quickly blast it with my heat tool to see if I could just dry it off a little bit to minimise the risk of too much bleeding and things. So I dried it with the heat tool. It wasn't completely dry, but it was dry enough. Now I've added the second colour, which I've also done with the packaging technique. Now I'm moving on to that was called Boogie Boardin Blue, that turquoise colour. And now I'm adding a really dark blue. It's like a navy. It's very dark. It's called Steely Blue Eyes. I felt that actually I needed to bring in a slightly lighter shade of blue, like more of a royal blue. So I've just grabbed another colour of Shimmerz called Oakie Bear Blue, and I'm just going to apply that now. You can see that's still a dark blue, but a lighter shade of navy. So I'm just putting that one on there now. So you can see that I've kind of created this kind of starburst effect in the middle, this middle area full of mixed media paints, colours, splatters, and I'm just carrying on adding to that. I feel like I need to make the bit on the left, the light mint, a bit darker. So I've just grabbed my hint of mint spray and sprayed directly onto the layout and added some large drips. Oh, my paintbrush just broke. Added some large drips and some splatters in that colour as well. I also added some more of the refreshment colour too. So I just kind of had to build up that left side a little bit more because it just wasn't quite as intense as the rest. So I'm still going. I wanted to add some larger drips. So I'm just doing that with my paintbrush and just like picking up a lot of paint on the paintbrush and then kind of like kind of throwing it at the page. And that's how I broke my paintbrush. I have glued it back together now, by the way. Okay, so I'm just continuing to add the large drips, extending the mixed media out towards the edge of the layout a bit more. I've now got a little splodge on the right hand side, but we won't worry about that. I'll cover that up later. I'm liking how it's looking. It's pretty much done. Just giving it a blast with the heat tool, and while that's still continuing to dry, I am going to make the hearts for my layout. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm starting off with the 4 colours of papers that I've pulled out. So I've pulled out from the Freehand Graph and Dot Bella Besties pack, I've pulled out black, the navy, which is called Blueberry, and then the 2 kind of greeny bluey turquoise ones, which are called Ice and Golf. So I have pulled those out and I have cut them up into pieces. So I've started with some in 3 by 4, and the bigger ones are 4 by 5.5, and then I actually do end up with some really tiny ones as well, which I think are 2.5 by 3. Anyway, they're the sizes that I used. And what I need to do is I need to curve the edges. So you can see my template there with the white, and I need to make all of my my rectangles cut with curved edges like that before I can fold them. So I've just used some Simple Stories circle templates, which I've got in my stash. They're awesome, but anything circular will do, and also it doesn't have to be that amazing. You could rough cut just freehand it with a pair of scissors, but as I had these templates on hand, I thought I would use them. Okay, so you can see by concertinaing that rectangle, I've ended up with this lovely heart shape there, folded it in half. And I just need to glue the two middle edges together. I'm going to use my heat tool for that. And then I've just secured it, I've just held it together with a bulldog clip. And just going to leave that to set for a couple of minutes while I work on the next one. But basically, the hot glue dries so quickly that will hold very quickly. But rather than just sit there and hold onto it, I thought I would put a bulldog clip there so that just kind of does the work for me and allows me to get on with the next heart as well. So here we go. Here's the bigger size being done now. I'm just going to quickly glue that together, and I'm going to hold that in place with a bulldog clip as well. And then by the time I've done that, my first one is held. And look how cute that is. I'm really happy with how they turned out. Initially, I was a bit worried that they didn't look like hearts, but they do. They definitely do look like hearts. You can definitely see that they're a heart shape. So I'm just going to go and do that with all of them now. So I'm just going around and drawing all of my curved edges onto my papers. I'm going to cut them, fold them, concertina them, and then, hey presto, all done. Lots of hearts. So like I said, I did do some smaller ones as well. But yeah, how cute is this? It's all worked out really well. I love the colours. I love the flow of colours going from light to dark. And I've got two black and white photos of me and my little boy. He's giving me a kiss. He is mummy obsessed at the moment. He wants to sit on my lap. He wants to follow me around. He wants to take me places and show me things. And his favourite word as well. So it's like mummy, mummy, mummy all the time. So full on mummy love at the moment. So this is a really nice little way of documenting that. So you can see that I've arranged all of my hearts. I've got 3 of each colour, and I'm arranging them all onto the layout in areas around together. So rather than having them all mixed up, I've got them all together. And just using my glue gun to stick those down. I'm pretty happy with how well they've stuck. Just having to remove the strings of hot glue, you know what it's like. And I've also made a bit of a splodge underneath the hearts there. So I'm just going to try and with the glue gun, that is. So I'm going to try to get that off, and then I'll have to cover that up later on. Okay, so just using my spatula to scrape that off. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. I want to add some more hearts, so I put out a heart punch, but it was a bit too big, so I went and found a tiny heart punch. It's actually part of a builder punch, so it has a load of other shapes on it as well. But I managed to punch loads of these little tiny hearts using that heart punch, and I'm just dotting those around the layout, getting them in between the hearts, and also kind of extending the lines of hearts as well. I like how they look on top of each other in vertical lines rather than just randomly dotted around. I'm sticking them down, they're paper and they're tiny. Ordinarily, I would use foam pads to raise these up, but they are even too small for me to do that. So I'm using wet glue to stick them flat to the layout. As I say, some of them are going in the lines, but where I had big gaps, so for example, where I'm putting those 2 hearts now, I'm filling in those gaps a little bit with these little tiny hearts as well, just because I just felt that some areas needed to be filled in a little bit more. It wasn't possible to overlap the folded hearts because they are so thick. They're about 1/4 of an inch thick, which is not ridiculous for a scrapbook page, but if I had put them like on top of each other, then there would be a 1/2 inch thick layout, so that would be too big for my albums. Because it wasn't possible to overlap them, I did end up with these gaps in between, which is good because you can see the mixed media underneath, which is really nice. But some of the gaps did need filling in a little bit. So that's just what I'm doing with these hearts. I'm also going to add some other bits and pieces as well, of course. But right now I'm just adding in those hearts. So I've now just pulled out the Florence alphabet stickers in the matching colours, so the black, the blueberry, the ice and the golf, and I'm writing the same word, that's mummy, multiple times using this font, but in the different colours. And I'm going to position my mummies around in the same kind of colour areas. And I say the reason I wanted to write mummy lots of times was because he just says it like 500 times a day. That's what it feels like anyway. So it's nice to document that moment because it won't last forever, of course. Yeah, so I'm just putting bringing in now some hearts and trinkets from the Trinkets Puffy stickers. Again, I've pulled out the same coordinating colours. So I've got the black, I've got the blueberry, and then I've got the mixed pack of ice and golf. So I'm just going through and adding a few of those in. I don't go crazy actually, just because I think this layout looks pretty good on its own. It has quite a good impact on its own. So I didn't go crazy with the embellishments. So I've added in a few hearts and a few arrows. I'm just going to hand write in my journaling now, just using a black pen. Of course, I'm in the black and blue area of the layout, so using a black pen seemed absolutely fine. So just hand writing in a few sentences there, and finishing off with my signature, a couple of little hearts at the end. And to say, I just want to take a look at those gaps and see if there's any others that need filling in. So there was definitely one there. I've just added that heart there. I thought that I would bring in a few more hearts from the Florence alphabets as well. They have these really cute little hearts on them. They have 2 different sizes, and they're brilliant for little fillers, which is what I was looking for, rather than go back and punch more of my hearts. But plus they're also solid colours, so they show up better as well. Just finishing off with a few big drips of black ink. This is a black Indian ink, so really intense and dark. I had a splatter over on the right hand side that was the wrong colour in the wrong area, so I've just gone over that with my black, and a few big splatters as well. And then coming over on this side, I'm adding a few more splatters of the Hint of Mint Shimmerz paint as well. That's pretty much me done. I'm just wicking up some of the excess paint, especially the black ink, because it can bleed. It's very intense. Just wicking that up with a tissue. And that is me completely finished. So I hope you have enjoyed this layout. I love how it turned out. I love the colours in particular and the way the colours flow from one side to the other. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed this layout and enjoy how it turned out. That was Niki Rowland for Bella Boulevard.